Typewriters, huh? Y'all was rich. You did go to a bougie. Just claim your bouginess. It's okay. It's all right. All right. Can y'all hear me out there on the internet?
Okay, Maury.
All right. All right. So this is a review. So loving all of me enough to give counsel and receive counsel face to face. That pretty much summed up the last month. All right. And there will be questions involved. So if you need to cheat and look it up, like my man on his phone, feel free to do so. Oh yeah, you can Google the whole thing if you want. Yeah, for sure. This is all review. All right. So someone online, please read the rules.
Okay, again. Rules that will be used for all lessons. Please keep your mic muted except when asking or answering a question. Use the mic to speak. There are features on Zoom in the meeting room where you can raise your hand if you have a question or statement. Also, there is an assembly. They're in the assembly. If you have a question or statement, raise your hand and speak into the mic for everyone to hear. All questions, answers, and statements must be on topic. You can only answer one time per question or statement. You have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. If you pass your 60-second window, your mic will be muted. For those that are in the room, you also have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. There are mics that will be passed around that can be used to ask or answer those questions. All statements in the room must be limited to 20 seconds. The microphones can be used to share with others that may not hear you online. The rules are due to time and the recordings of the lessons. These are live teachings. We must give the Mori enough time to complete the lessons. This will be mixed with discussions to help build one another. Please do not abuse the time.
Ta-da. All right, somebody in the room, read the warning. Y'all failing the review already. We only did this 4 weeks already. It's the same pattern. Oh, he said it with his chest.
Warning. I want to take this time to explain that this lesson and the lessons thereafter are not based on any one individual, whether in this assembly, locally, or abroad. These lessons were not developed by myself alone. Yes, the Father has something, if not all, to do with them. If these lessons hit certain points that you feel or believe have something to do with you, all praise to the Father. Take that knowledge and apply the solution to your life. Do not take anything personal and miss the message that is being given to help solidify your salvation.
Toda. All right, so again, this is just a review of what we've been talking about. Loving all of me, giving counsel, receiving counsel, and the face-to-face lesson, all right? All right, so Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 13, 4 and 6 through 7. Love is patient, is kind, love does not envy, love does not boast, is not puffed up, does not rejoice over the unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. It covers all, believes all, expects all, endures all. So love is a great thing, correct? All right, good. All right, so if you recall, we started the month talking about love, but not just love itself, but the struggle we have with exposing our true selves to those that we love. We say we want to be loved completely, yet we hold back from giving them our complete true selves for them to love. When we do this, we put them in a place where they could never truly love us completely, no matter how much they want to, right? So, 1 John 15, 12 through 15. This is my command, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one is greater than love than this, that one should lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends, for all teaching which I heard from my Father I have made known to you. So first question, true or false? To lay down our lives means to literally die. Who would like to answer that one?
I'd like to answer this question.
Go ahead.
I say false.
All right. That boy's smart, boy. Woo! Can't get nothing past him. All right, yeah, we started with a nice, simple one, right? So, this does not require literal death. Actually, the person that got it wrong ain't in the room. He should have heard this. Yeah, he stepped out just in time, right? All right, but our desires, right? We want to get rid of the my way or the highway attitude. We have to get rid of the need to never be vulnerable, and our desire not to change, etc. That is what we have to die. So we have to lay down our way of doing things for the sake of our brothers. All right? Or sisters, excuse me. So who can name 2 issues that keep us from laying down our lives for those that we say that we love? The 2 that we discussed in the lesson, and it doesn't count if you don't say it in the microphone. No, I heard you back there. Say it in the microphone. Somebody in the room shouted out without a microphone, so I'm going to give them a chance to follow the rules.
I said pride and ego.
Pride and ego. Now, Mana?
Fear and rejection.
Fear and rejection. Y'all are both half right. So between the 2 of y'all should have cheated off each other. Y'all might have done something. All right, so we talked about pride and fear. All right, so lots of lessons on pride. I'll leave that to your own research. What are some things that we may be afraid of when it comes to laying down our pride and letting ourselves be vulnerable so that our true selves can be loved? It doesn't count if it's not in the microphone.
Rejection.
Rejection, what else? What else?
Judgment.
Judgment, which ultimately might lead to that rejection, right? What else? We got one in the microphone. He up front. He got one up front. That's the problem. That's why we need the microphone, because you won't say it loud.
Ridicule.
Ridicule.
Pride.
Pride. Namana.
How about being vulnerable?
Being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Okay. Mishael, what you got?
The fear of being misunderstood.
Fear of being misunderstood.
Trust issues.
Trust issues. These are all things that we talked about, and they are all good answers. All right, so we talked about fear, right? So true or false? When we operate out of fear, we let go and trust Yahuwah. Is that a true statement or a false statement? I know that one should have been fast. Somebody should have a microphone ready to go.
False.
Well, we just sang about it. I know they heard that one online. You did not need a microphone for that one. All right, so fear is false, right? So fear causes us to lean on our own understanding. We seek to protect ourselves instead of trusting Yahuwah to protect us, right? Again, one example we talked about, if they knew who I really was, they might not like what I have to offer. There's those things that we talked about in the previous answer, right? So what do? I can't take that risk, so I'll manipulate the information so that I share so they can only see the bright side. So we don't trust Yahuwah. Instead, we try to manipulate the situation. Is manipulation correct? Is that right? The right thing to do? No. Low, right? It's terrible. Say that last part.
Because man's involved, you know.
Man's involved, right? Oh, these are some. That's that corner etymology, huh? Read. Okay, I got you. All right. It says man in the front. Gotcha. All right. So everybody should know the answer to this one. Just all shout it out at once. When we're ready to open up to our loved ones and have the difficult conversations, what's the best way to confront the issue? We did a whole lesson about it. It doesn't count if it's not in the microphone. Y'all can't follow directions.
Face to face.
They didn't yell. They just FaceTime, right? Face to face. That was the second week's lesson, right? Face to face. All right. True or false? Confrontation and conflict are the same thing.
Say it in the mic.
False.
False.
All right, so everyone
Raise your
understands.
hand to be recognized.
Ema, go ahead.
False.
All right, correct. Yeah, we'll be expecting answers for all these, so please keep a microphone near you. All right, so everyone understands that confrontation and conflict are not the same thing. Now, we do understand this if we're not in the right ruach, a confrontation can lead to conflict, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? Okay. So again, it is false, like you said. True or false? A text message is better than a phone call. Right. He didn't say the microphone, so I'm going to ignore it.
What generation is that?
He got a pass for that one. Go ahead, Ema.
False.
That's false. That is false. All right, so that is false. Text messages often lack tone and can be more easily misinterpreted. For confronting an issue, it's an indirect form of communication. Now, if you say, hey, bring home bread from the grocery store, it's great, right? But if you're trying to confront an actual issue, you don't want to rely on text. All right, and we want to confront issues directly. So that's why when we have a confrontation, we don't want to depend on a text message. All right, so true or false? If I just wait long enough, the problem will just go away, and I can just go about my business until then.
False.
Anybody disagree? It's pretty simple, right?
I disagree.
Now, you see, class clown, take, what's his punishment? I'm gonna write your referral now. Your father's gotta come get you from the office. 3 days out. It's going on your permanent record. All right, so again, it is false, right? Yahoo, if then you bring your gift to the slaughter place, and there remember that your brother holds whatever against you, leave your gift there before the slaughter place, and go first make peace with your brother, right? And then come and offer your gift. So again, you can't just wait for it to go away. Especially if you know there's an issue, you have to resolve it. Go ahead, Mo.
I mean, if you have confrontation, and the person that started it is not coming, so you need to go. Are you saying I will have to go and?
Anybody that plans to stand before the Most High,
Yeah.
y'all should be bumping into each other as y'all go to find each other.
Okay.
So you can't say, well, they started it, so now I'm good. That's not. You still have to work it out. Yeah.
All right, so remember, as Sarah's on here, it says, remember that your brother holds whatever against you, leave your gift at the altar and go get it right. So if you know that your brother has something against you, sometimes we wait for that person to come to us, but we know that that person has something, you should still try to go get it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't say if they started it, if you started it. So as long as you know there's something there, you got to handle it. Go ahead, Ema.
Well,
Y'all got so much wisdom to share. Hold on.
suppose there's no mending.
Meaning,
Mean you can get over it, but the other person cannot get over it. So you waiting, or you can go, but it's still not going to be that person. We're not going to change. Okay, go ahead.
go ahead, Aki.
So if they can't get over it, it's not your problem. You're doing what Yah tells you to do. So because you're doing what Yah tells you to do, the hopes is Yah steps in. That is the hope, the intent. But as long as the way it's coming out is righteous and sincere from the heart, if they still can't receive it because they're going through something at that moment or still upset with it, whatever, give them that time. But they know they have to get it right as well. If we're all righteous. So yes, you did. Now, if it comes to a point where you still need 2 or 3 witnesses, if it didn't happen and it's ongoing, then we go to the next stage. But usually from that particular point, yeah.
Any other questions about that one online? Okay, good. All right, well, but I don't like, no, where you going now? No, sit down. You didn't ask permission. Sit down. That's what you get for acting up. But I don't like conflict. Dealing with things face to face makes me afraid. True or false? My fear of conflict gives me an excuse. So when we first did this, I asked who doesn't like conflict, and everybody's hand went up. I hate conflict. Ooh, conflict, conflict, conflict. Yes, sir. If he's smart, he'll say, "Can I go to the bathroom?" and not answer my question. Go ahead, okay. What you got? What you got? Whatever your original question was, go ahead and say it.
I go to the back.
Yes, you may.
But false.
False, right? So remember the example that we used about how Moshe spoke to our Creator directly, like a friend, right? So if he was brave enough to speak to Yah, then we should be brave enough to speak to each other. I'm sad. You are my friend, aren't you? It didn't do that on my end. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Anyway, Shemoth 33:11. Thus Yahuwah spoke to Moshe face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. And he would return to the camp, but his servant Yehoshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent. So again, if Moshe can talk to our Creator face to face, like a friend, then that's how we should talk to our friends face to face, right? Especially when we know there's an issue. What's another verse where we read about a conversation that Moshe had with Yahuwah? This is a review. Now, Amana, did you take notes?
I think
Oh, I
I
don't think
wasn't
you were there for that one.
here during that time, but Moshe had many conversations with the Father. So I mean, he had conversations, and I don't remember the verse, but it went something like how the people were just constantly complaining
Mm-hmm.
about what Moshe was doing, and how they were just basically ungrateful for everything.
Yeah, he had no problem complaining to the Most High. Look at Shemot 33:12 through 15 we looked at, and 17. Moshe said to Yahuwah, "See, you are saying to me, bring up this people, but you have not made known to me whom you will send with me. Though you said, I know you by name, you found favor in my eyes. And now, please, if I have found favor in your eyes, please show me your way and let me know you so that I find favor in your eyes. And consider that this nation is your people." And he said, "My presence does go, and I shall give you rest." And he said to him, "If your presence is not going, do not lead us up from here." And Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Even this word you have spoken, I shall do, for you have found favor in my eyes, and I know you by name." So again, at the top you see Moshe said to Yahuwah. At the bottom you see Yahuwah said to Moshe, right? Face-to-face, direct conversation. That's how we're supposed to deal with each other. Because we are friends, right? So we should speak to each other as a friend. Anyone have any particular takeaways from that face-to-face lesson that they can recall? I knew this would get you. Y'all don't be paying attention to me. Now, Amanda, what you got?
Lastly, Kamui, when we're dealing with our brethren face to face, and honesty is always the best policy when we're dealing with each other, and we can honestly see how to deal with conflict with that specific person, and we can also show them empathy, and they can show us empathy, so we can get a better understanding of each other, of what the situation was, and better solve the problems and issues that way.
Okay. Toda? Well, technically empathy we hadn't talked about before. So. Yahushua Noud.
Yeah, the word has the final word.
Nah, they gonna do everything they say. What are you talking about? Travis, what you got?
Do not seek to placate one another. Be careful, be truthful in what you can and cannot adhere to when coming to a compromise.
Travis, your voice changed. Exactly. I didn't go to a bougie school like you. My school was on MLK Boulevard. Enough said. All right, you can erase that for now. Sort of. Yeah, just erase it. Yep, because we'll go to another slide. Sort of. Just say it out loud. You already got the mic right over me. You can't. I'm going to fuss at him face to face. So you clown my penmanship and then be like, oh, I want you to write. You was laughing. You was laughing. What you got?
All right. Dang, I forgot it now. Nah, I'm playing. Be understanding when dealing with one another because we're all dealing with different personalities.
You said 87 words that I just summed up as various. Jeez, this is the slide that y'all want to have all answers for? Now that I got to work? Hobby, what you got?
Don't allow too much time to pass before you confront the issue face to face.
You could just say go quickly. Make my life easy. That's how I'm gonna put it. Go quickly. YouTube, what you got? Be kind to me, YouTube.
Oh, they're not going to be kind to you. Self-reflection and examine using scripture as a guideline, whether listening to counsel or giving counsel. You need me to say it slow?
Erase it. Right? Read. I'll make you right. Oh, slow down. Hold on. I'm going to ask Aki Caleb, could you read that again, please?
Self-reflection and examine using scripture as a guideline, whether listening to counsel or giving counsel.
See, we're not on the counsel lesson yet, so I ain't got to write that. It's wise, though. Actually, it's typed in the chat, right? Okay. So leave that in the chat. What you got?
To have equality in the conversation and open-mindedness.
You left yours up there, huh? Repeat yours, please.
Equality in the conversation and open-mindedness.
Okay, so don't hog the conversation. Equality. Read the one online for me one more time. I'm gonna add something on the board from it.
Self-reflection and examine using scripture as a guideline, whether listening to counsel or giving counsel.
Okay. All right, so you want to be, when you're having this discussion, you want to make sure that nobody dominates the discussion, right? Both people are heard out. And you also want to be self-reflective as you go into this conversation and during it. So if they point out something that's true about yourself, admit it and don't get stuck and get defensive, right? Okay. Go ahead.
I think it's important too, when you're communicating, to understand how the person you're speaking to or group you're speaking to receives information. Where one person may be very comfortable with direct conversation, where they just say, this is what it is, deal with it. Another person gets at honesty in not a direct way. Like even in cultural differences, some cultures will suggest things. They will say perhaps. They don't speak as in should and should not, shall and shall not, even though that's the way we communicate.
Right.
And sometimes when people communicate, they may communicate circularly. So they go around a bunch of different ways before they land at, and people who are direct communicators can experience that in a way that looks manipulative, in a way that looks avoidance, in a way that looks delay or stalling. They have a tendency to assign negative connotations with a conversational style that goes the longer way around. And sometimes people who are communicating, they speak as they're thinking. So they're talking and you're looking for an exact statement, but they're thinking through one thing or another. So you don't have to write that down, but just how people receive information.
He wasn't even going to try.
And I said all of it.
And you yield,
I gave some grace on that answer. She wasn't here the other weeks that we did it, so I like what she was saying. So it's technically not review, but it was pertinent information, but way too much to write. So I apologize. You can erase it. You know, snap it up. Oh, you better be glad she said that, because I can't stand somebody talking in circles. So coming from that perspective, that I got to understand the other person versus my trust issues, and I think you're lying to me. You know, that was valid. That's valid information, because the way my savings and my checking set up, my patience, it ain't really there. All right, so we talked about this before. Be honest in your wants and needs. Do not seek to placate one another. Be truthful in what you can and cannot adhere to when coming to a compromise. In addition to everything that we said before, do not avoid issues. Deal with each other face to face, basically directly. You don't want to be involved with hearsay. All right. And again, the word has the final word. All right. So, Ream 4:12-13. The word of Elohim is living and working and sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting through even to the dividing of being and ruach, and of joints and marrow, and able to judge the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And there is no creature hidden from his sight, but all are naked and laid bare before the eyes of him with whom is our account. All right, so again, when you meet with each other to bring the sword, separate your false self from your true self. Lose your old self for the sake of your relationship with each other and with our Father. All right? So is it always painless to let go of your pride, your ego, and your things you're dealing with? It's the easiest thing to do, right? I think I heard something. I hear dead people. Nobody has microphones.
No, it's not.
Toda. What you gonna say, Aki? Okay. All right, swords hurt sometimes, but you got to bring them. So one of the key applications of understanding the need to address issues directly was in the area of counsel. Can anyone recall the basic definition of counsel? I mean, that's why they had the phone on the first slide, so they can Google it real quick. I'm gonna give Google a chance. He wasn't paying attention. Go ahead, Aki.
Advice, especially that is given formally.
Toda. Oh, sorry, it was a fly in here. I thought you had your hand up. My bad. It's a good definition. Advice, right? Opinion or instruction given in directing the judgment or the conduct of one another. So you could be giving someone counsel on the way they're doing things, or you give counsel on the way people see things, which is guiding their action. So, hey, the way you see that isn't quite right. It's causing you to do bad things. Or you can just get directly to the point of what they're doing and give an instruction on that. So judging the judgment or the conduct. And we talked about Mishle 2018. By counsel, plans are established, and by wise guidance, we wage a battle. And without counsel, plans can go wrong. But by great counselors, they are established. True or false? Everyone loves to receive counsel. Go ahead, Aki.
That's obviously true.
I'm with you. I'm with you. True, right? We love to receive counsel, and we always follow through on the counsel that we get. All right, clearly that's not true. That's clearly not true. But if we don't follow through on the counsel that we receive, there are no repercussions. It really doesn't matter. All right, that's not true either, right? So let's take a look at what happens when we don't take heed to the counsel that we get. Mishle 1:23-31. Turn in my reproof. See, I pour out my ruach on you. I make my words known to you. Because I called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no one inclined, and you spurned all my counsel and would not yield to my reproof. Let me also laugh at your calamity and mock when your dread comes. When your dread comes like a storm and your calamity comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, let them then call on me, but I answer not. Let them seek me, but not find me. Because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahuwah, they did not accept my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore, let them eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own counsels, right? So I don't really have to heed the counsel that I get. It really doesn't matter. I can take it or leave it. Not. All right, so don't ignore the counsel, do the opposite of what you were advised to do, and then get mad at what happens next. You were warned, you didn't heed the warning, now you got to eat the fruit. It is what it is. Again, I'm also not obligated to continuously be concerned. You came to me twice for counsel, didn't follow that counsel. You really expect me to counsel you about the same thing a third time? I may have to laugh at your calamity, or I might have to mock you when your dread comes. What were some of the things we had to be mindful of if we go to receive counsel, but we do not have the right ruach in us to receive that wisdom? What are some things we should be wary of if we ask for counsel, but our ruach isn't right when we go to receive it? Just off the top of your head, what's some things that you might have to worry about? I'm looking for one or two answers. You on a roll, go ahead. If you ask for counsel, but your ruach's not right to hear it, what can happen?
I think I'm hearing the counsel. It's going through one ear, it's coming out the other ear. I think this guy's saying a bunch of BS. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all.
Okay, so you're not going to receive it? Go ahead, Aki.
Okay, yeah, your emotions.
Your emotions? Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at some of the things that emotions might lead to. Now, Mana, what you got?
When you have no faith in the counsel that you are receiving, when you have that mindset of this person is not going to help me, this person don't understand what I'm going through, so therefore they're not going to help me. I don't have any faith in what this person is saying to me.
Toda.
I was going to say something extremely similar, that you turn your aggression on the person who's giving you the counsel.
Mm-hmm. You try to flip it on them, right? Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at Galatians 5:14, 16 to 17. For the entire Torah is completed in one word. In this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And I say, walk in the ruach, and you shall not accomplish the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the ruach, and the ruach against the flesh, and these are opposed to each other, so that you do not do what you desire to do. And the works of the flesh are well known, which are these: adultery, whoring, uncleanness, indecency, idolatry, drug, sorcery. And these are the things that we see in counseling sessions when our ruach is not correct. Hatred, quarrels, jealousies, fits of rage, selfish ambitions, dissensions, and factions. So these are all the things we want to. You got to get your ruach right before this happens. Otherwise, you're just trying to placate the other person, but you're not really into it. Right? We don't want to do that. Who can recall the foundational scripture that we use for receiving and forgiving counsel? And the ruach that we want to have as we're giving it. Anyone online? Okay. Mishle 8, 6 through 10. Listen, for I speak noble words, and the opening of my lips is about straightness. For my mouth speaks truth, and wrongness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness, none of them twisted or crooked, all of them plain to him who understands, and straight to those who find knowledge. Accept my discipline and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. So those that are speaking and offering the counsel, this is the view that they're taking when they come to you to deliver that counsel. All right, so again, we've singled out straightness and discipline. What do we recall about straightness first, if anything? Anything about straightness that we can recall? Don't worry, we're going to go over it again. Again, straightness, right? I'm going to say this is essence this time. What you got?
Straightness is equivalent to uprightness, which therefore brings discipline.
Good, good. A level path, order, integrity, truth, agreement, uprightness. It conforms to a standard. We know that standard is the Torah. Exactly. Straightness is a linear direction that does not deviate or crooked. It stays on that straight path, right? Look, if you look at verse 8, it says, all my words are in righteousness. None of them are twisted nor crooked, right? All right, discipline is about correction that's for minor punishment for teaching, which might include a rebuke. It's a warning to speak words about a future event with the focus on changing the behavior or an action. It's the teaching of a principle or axiom for life and instruction, right? Remember, we said when you get in counseling session, we're going to address the actual issue, but oftentimes when we're changing the way that people view things, it's a mentality that can be applied through various situations. So the counsel isn't always for exactly what you're going through in that moment alone, but also it's supposed to get you in the direction that if you find yourself facing something similar, that you will not fall for the same traps, right? True or false? This is another easy one. When we're told to give someone a warning, we can delay in giving them the warning until it's convenient for us, because we just don't like conflict. We just want to wait. True or false? We can wait. Your son is trying to get an A so bad. Go ahead, Aki.
All right, the answer is false.
Thank you. Toda. False, right? Can't wait around waiting for the right time forever, right? So again, you have to give the warning whether they're ready to receive it or not. You just might have to go about it in a different way based on where they are, right? So sometimes you can give an informal warning if they get to a place where they can truly hear the counsel, but you have to say something when instructed to do so. So for them to fully get it, it may take 2 or 3 counseling sessions, but you can't just act like you don't see a problem when you know there's a problem, all right? Because if you try to wait till the right time almost never comes. You gotta give them the warning. And we'll take a look at that, right? Ezekiel 33, 1 through 7. The word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people, and you shall say to them, when I bring the sword upon the land, and the people of the land shall take a man from their borders, and shall make him their watchman. And he sees the sword coming upon the land, and shall blow with the shofar, and shall warn the people. Then whoever shall hear the voice of the shofar, and shall not take warning, if the sword comes and takes him away, his blood is on his own head. He heard the voice of the shofar, but he did not take the warning. His blood is on himself. But he who takes warning shall deliver his being. But if the watchman sees the sword coming, and shall not blow with the shofar, and the people shall not be warned, and the sword comes and takes away any being from among them, then he is taken away in his crookedness, and his blood I will require at the watchman's hand. Right? So if the warning comes, you choose not to heed it, that's on you. But if I don't give you the warning, that person's still going to suffer the consequences, but you will as well. So you have to give the warning. So we talked about this as well. Am I supposed to give counsel to someone just because they do or say something I don't like? I see shaking heads. If the people online could see you, that'd be great.
No.
No, right? So just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Right? Counsel is supposed to come from a place of wisdom, and we should have the wisdom to know whether we need to speak or be silent. If we don't know for sure if we should act, then we as the counselors should seek counsel for ourselves. Before you decide to say something, check yourself first. Ask yourself, does the situation actually require my input? A difference in opinion is not the same as right from wrong, right? People are allowed to have a different opinion from you as long as that opinion doesn't violate Torah. Sometimes it's better to seek counsel before you give it. Run it past another counselor first. Job 38, 2 through 18. Who is this who darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Now gird up your loins like a man, and I ask you, and you answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare it if you have understanding. Who set its measurements if you know? Or stretched the line upon it? Upon what were its foundations sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy? Or who enclosed the sea with doors when it burst forth and came from the womb? When I made the cloud its garments and thick darkness its swaddling band, and assigned for it my law and set bars and doors and said, this far you have come, but no further, and here your proud waves stop. Have you ever commanded the morning and caused the dawn to know its place? To take hold of the ends of the earth and the wrong be shaken out of it? It is changed like clay under a seal, and they stand out like a garment. And the light is withheld from the wrong, and the arm lifted up is broken. Have you come to the sources of the sea? Or have you walked about in the recess of the deep? Were the gates of death revealed to you? Or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? Have you understood the breadth of the earth? Declare it if you know it all. So the reminder from this was that we do not know it all. We are not Yahuwah. We never want to give counsel from a place of pride or arrogance. Whatever wisdom we do have came from Yahuwah. We are just a vessel that he uses to give wisdom to someone else. So again, it's not about us when we're giving counsel. All right, so I might have to do some more writing. Any takeaways from the past month? Anything on your heart that touched you that we did not review today? Cool, I'm fine not writing anything. All right. I heard something. What? You want more time to think? I'll give you some more time. Hand online. Who we got? Yakaria, what you got? Yakaria, do you want to write it in the chat? Or did you put your hand up by accident? I'll give you a few moments if you want to put it in the chat instead. All right. Any other questions? All right. With that being said, prepare your hearts for prayer, and I yield.
Barukata Yahuwah Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Father, we thank you for the word that was given. We thank you for the Moreh that gave the lessons. We ask, Father, that every word that was spoken and addressed to each and every last one of us, that we will receive it and be doers of it. We thank you for your love and commitment towards us. We ask that you bless the meal that we are about to receive. Bless the fellowship, Father. And we also ask that you bless us as we learn a little lesson on your set-apart language. We ask, Father, for memory as well in that. And we give you all esteem, honor, and praise in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. Amen.